Oh, good morning, YouTubers. Going to do a review of the 2024. This one's like a late 24 Ram 2500 with Cummins. Gotta go pick some stuff up. It's gonna be a long day. I got 800 miles to go here, so 400 empty and 400 loaded coming home. So we'll make a run. We'll get a Ford guy by large review, a mechanic review, and a truck driver's review, all from one idiot on a Dodge pickup here. And so I got to grab a couple straps out of a little red here, and we will hit the road. Okay, so probably wondering what in the shoot heck I'm doing in a Dodge pickup, the new one, especially me as well. I'll get geared up here. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning here. I'll run up to Warren and go get a van that I decided I needed from a buddy of mine. Kind of a little personal project deal. And anyways, I wasn't really planning on doing it today. If you were to have asked me on Sunday what I was going to do this week. But what happened was I had a kind of an opportunity here. I had a bunch of stuff tied up in the shop waiting on parts. My guys had field service stuff to do. So I could kind of get away from the shop. I wanted to spend a little time kind of doing sales calls, which I do not do hardly ever. We stay pretty busy. I'm kind of in a way trying to send my direction or my business in a certain direction. So I wanted to go meet a couple new potential customers and to go out and just meet some new people as far as the direction I want to go with my business goes there, I guess. And so I have since sold all of my pickups because I'm kind of shopping for a crew cab, but it's going to be used, probably gas Ford truck. Just because if you watch any of my other videos, I believe that is the best bang for the buck, but that's not why we're here. So why did I end up in this Dodge? I needed a truck to look professional, to go approach people, out on the job sites I was headed to. I probably didn't have to do this, but I'm just going to go rent a new pickup. They had some decent deals going. It's like, shoot, I'll just go rent one, and we'll go from there. It gives me an opportunity to do a review on whatever they give me. I have not done a new truck review for you guys in almost 5 years. So I'd like to get back into that a little bit. The problem is I'm just not around a lot of brand new trucks very much. And for what we do, we just don't end up around new pickups. We end up around a lot of pickups, but with the repair business. But as far as brand new goes, we don't see a ton. Although I could probably give you a review on the new half-ton Chevys. We got a customer that's got quite a few of those that we've been working on. But that's for another video. So I ended up with a brand new Dodge because I rented it because I was headed to different job sites and wanted to look pretty professional when I'm trying to convince people to let me work on their millions of dollars worth of equipment. So I ended up with it. I did that stuff yesterday. Parts still didn't show. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run out of time. I need to get this van picked up for my cousin's bachelor party. Shoot, I'm going to run out of time. I got time today. I should just get a trailer and haul the mail, go get it, and then I can review this Dodge and put miles on a brand new, nice, quiet pickup. Because really, I do all of my towing now with semis. Seems to be the most cost-effective for what we do, even though when we do little loads like this kind of stuff, it's kind of inconvenient. But I don't really make any money pulling stuff with a pickup. Everything I do with the semis gets a bill, so it works out pretty good. It's just kind of the way my market works out for now. I'd love to have a good reason to own a pretty nice new diesel pickup, but I just don't have a good one besides leisure and convenience of doing stuff like this sometimes. So I drove this truck all day yesterday, down around Denver, kind of all over the place, the commercial area of Denver. Came back and I was very impressed with the fuel mileage of this truck. Just running around empty. It's a 2024 Ram 2500 with the Cummins, and the 6-speed does not have the 10-speed in it yet, so it should be the 68 RFE still. This is not the latest model of the Cummins. They just came out with a new revision of this engine in late or early 2025 here. They changed a bunch of stuff to the head. But this would be the last or latest model of the 6.7 as we know it, with that kind of familiar head design, where it still has the grid heater and no glow plugs, and still has the fuel push tubes and stuff like that. This one should have the roller lifters alongside with the roller hydraulic lifters. So this truck is no longer a flat tappet, and you do not set the valve lash on it anymore. Cummins did that for their entire existence until now. And I'm sure it all goes back to everybody's trying to run a thinner oil and a cheaper oil, because the EPA says every time you change your oil, you're killing 15 penguins and you need to quit. And so that really has that's the most reason behind these extended oil change intervals you see a lot on all the new vehicles. And roller lifters, in a perfect scenario, can handle lighter grade oils and things like that. And so that's why they go that route. And same thing with the hydraulic lifter can keep your valve lash theoretically closer to spec throughout the lifetime of that engine, as it's if you do not keep up on your valve lash. And so I did that to get rid of a service interval item, and it's fine. We've been using hydraulic lifters since I think the 80s is when they really got popular, maybe even in the 70s. In the gas world, you still don't see them in the heavy duty world because they just aren't as tough when you get into the big heavy valve springs. So these year Dodges did have problems. It seems with the roller spinning, from what I understand, there's a little eyelet keyway in there that keeps it spinning true and parallel with the cam lobes. I don't know if that breaks or what happens, but it spins, flattens the cam. I've seen a fair amount of these on the marketplace for pretty cheap just because of that. I need set cruise here. I'm not used to these quiet trucks. Well, not quiet. Older Fords we run aren't bad, but this thing this should be the 400 horse, 800 at least. It might even be the 900 pound-feet engine. I do not know for sure. I should look under the valve cover later today. But it runs nice. Running around Denver yesterday, it was getting a casual 18 miles to the gallon. Once I got out on the highway, it was wanting for 20, which in my opinion makes this truck alleviate the idea of a half ton for me. If I was to be out in the market, this is exactly, I would heavily consider this. I haven't been around the new 6.7 Ford much. I've been around from what we see come through the shop, and I personally owned the 6.7 Ford. Mine was a 2015. It pulled great, it ran great, it was reliable. That was a great truck. However, on its best day in the non-California configuration, 18 would have been a stretch. That 6.7 was hard on fuel. In the compliant California configuration, you would see, those trucks like to hang around 13 and a half, 14, maybe 15, empty running down the highway. That would do 17, 18 empty on the highway. It was never as good as my 6 liters or the Dodges I've driven and been around and owned. But yeah, as far as yesterday goes, driving around empty, kind of running around. It was a pretty good truck. Short, turns good, rides pretty nice. It's quiet in here. Sound system's pretty good. This is a base model, or a Bighorn, so one step above the base model. I wish it had rubber floors, but I don't really care. It's a rental. If I was to own it personally, that's an option I would go. I probably wouldn't get any more trim than this one has. It's a good, comfortable amount without being ridiculous. And Everything seems to work pretty good. So empty yesterday. We ran that 18. Pulling this empty trailer here around 70. It seems to be looking around 12-ish, but like I said, I've only got 40-50 miles here in, so we will get fueled up when we burn through Cheyenne, and then head up to Casper, out to Shoshone, and then up into Thermopolis and Warland to pick it up and run her back home. So it'll be a long day. All right, so just fueled up here. The old gas pump. Oh, the old truck driving jam's already going. Let's see, I just reset the odometer when I pulled in the parking lot here, even though I'm 45-ish miles behind. But I just filled up. We'll reset it here again. And we'll see what we get towing here. It's an empty. Right now it's like a 14,000 pound rated. What is this thing? A load trail. Pretty nice trailer. Brand new too. Just rented it to make this run. Because like I said, pretty much down to semi-trailers and semi-trucks for all my trucking. So yeah, but while we're here, we gotta appreciate this hot rod. Look at that minty old burb. That thing is sweet. But anyways, let's go put some miles on, see what happens. It's one of the highlights of my life for no good reason at all, because I'm just a weirdo, but I love trucking. I love truck stop coffee, and I love donuts. So it works out pretty good. Anyways, let's put some miles on. Just got into Casper here, and I'll show you the fuel mileage from the dash here. And that was running 80 for pretty much the entirety of that 187 miles there. I was pushing a headwind for a good part of it, and 11 miles a gallon is what I got. I mean, I'm just pulling a flatbed with some ramps. It's a heavier flatbed. I don't know, this trailer's probably 3,000 or 4,000 pounds. I'll try and get a weight when I have the van loaded just to see. But I'm more than pleased with that 11 at 80 miles an hour and hitting the casual 40 mile an hour headwind. Like, the highway was shut down to high profile vehicles, and it was most definitely a headwind. So if there's anything about this truck, I better pay attention, that I'm impressed with the most so far, it's fuel mileage. We'll see what happens when we put a load on it, and we start feeding 400 horsepower down the highway. But either way, for a Ford guy, very surprised and pleased with that. And as far as the going down the road with this load, this transmission and engine did no shifting. I mean, it stayed in overdrive and just hung out there for the entirety of what we got going. So that always is a good time. But yeah, we'll see what it's like when we get loaded. I'm going to reset this now. Actually, I'm going to reset the other one so we can look at, because all of the rest of this trip is 4-lane like this, or down to 2-lane, but not interstate speed. So we'll be hanging around 65, 70, and that'll make a huge jump in fuel mileage, because that just seems to be, with the vehicles we have today, where you're going to get your best fuel mileage. So yeah, we'll check that, see what it looks like, and reset them both on the way home and see what comes up, and see how she goes. To get fuel, there's my trip. I did 283 on a tank. 11.4 was the average according to that. According to my numbers, my 25.798 that went in, I'm at 11.2, so just shy, so pretty close. If we go to the mileage, on the short trip there, did almost 12 because I was hanging around that 70-ish instead. So yeah, we're gonna make another run for it here and see what we end up with. It just came out of the old Wind River up there. Got the new van with the 6-liter in it in tow here. And the old dash is I'm getting 11.9. I kind of had a tailwind coming out of there, and now we're going to run down to Casper and hit I-25 and then head back home. But man, so far, for being a Ford guy, but I am a Cummins engine fan, I'm I'm having a hard time finding complaints on how this truck runs right now. The fuel mileage is good. The power is great. The exhaust brake tuning is wonderful. The transmission is doing what it should. And I'll show you here where I can find my buttons. One thing I like, so there's some things that, from a mechanic standpoint, that I like. Not to say that all new technology is bad, but these numbers where this engine and transmission is living at, 192 degrees on the engine, 167 on the transmission, and 186 in the oil on a 64 degree day. Like I said, I haven't been pulling hard, but I like that those temperatures are where they're at. The reason I like them is because, I know from experience, engines in the past that have ran around that area of temperatures can live a long time. That seems to be the happy place for most oils. A lot of the new vehicles and the new Fords I've had, they do run the transmission temperature pretty high. It has to do with an efficiency thing and less parasitic draw. Now, whether it's worth it or not in the long run, I do not know. But I like these numbers. Even though the 68 RFE, which is the transmission in this, is not known to be a real road warrior, I'm happy where this is hanging out at for sure. But I mean, this truck is this is the 850 pound-feet model, 370 horse engine. I did look it up. I am just unbelievably, I don't know, I guess I can believe it, but I'm very impressed with this truck. It's not working hard. If you watch the boost, it's not, this engine is not entirely reliant on the turbocharger. And it is, but it isn't. What I'm saying is it doesn't take immense amount of boost for this thing to get down and lug. I liked it. It's a lugger of an engine. It's not this truck doesn't spend all day shifting. Even running through the canyon and the corners and slowing down and accelerating, it did a minimal amount of shifting, which I'm very happy with. The exhaust brake was, so far it's pretty strong. I'm not that heavy. I got a 4,000 pound trailer, I don't know, 8,000 pound van or something. Maybe 10, 12,000 pounds. So pretty light in the world of towing these days. But this truck is just, it's like you're not even loaded. It's just going. It doesn't care what's in front of it. For going from old emissions trucks to this one, or Tier 4 trucks, I'm super happy with the way this thing runs and tuning, and it just feels right. So for a guy that's not really a Dodge guy, I like the way this thing runs. I'll kind of go through creature comforts and stuff when I'm done here. I'll do one more when I get back to the house. Got 250 miles left, 300 miles left to go. Let's see here, how many miles have we driven so far? Yeah, I guess I got 300-ish left to go. 380 miles each way. I'm at 427. So we got a ways to run yet, but so far, just really enjoying how this truck pulls. This is almost crazy. Look at that average, 12.6. Getting some fuel here. I've got a pretty good tailwind. Maybe, I don't know. I've been headed dead east pretty much since I hit Shoshone. And so with that straight on tailwind of maybe 20-ish, 30 miles an hour, I've been able to pull that. I'm about to head kind of cross-cut the wind now, headed back south. So we'll get another reading here and see where that ends up. But, this is a nice running pickup. So we'll fill up, make the last couple hundred miles home, and give you all my final thoughts. Perfect. Fuel filter, blah, 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 don't care. As you can see here, 750.2 miles. 10.7. I checked it a couple times against my refills. I was just within a few tenths off. So we're going to go with that number here for the final. View the time versus the miles. I'm averaging around 68 miles an hour on this trip. I do not really know what I weigh. I can shut this off now. I don't know. That van should be around 6-ish. 7,000 pounds. That trailer is probably 3 to 4, so I'm probably towing 10. I'm guessing between 10 and 12,000 pounds. I did not let out of this thing on the highway. I set cruise at 80 and let her go. I did have a tailwind for about 100 miles, and then I cut the crosswind for the last 150 and still managed that 10.7. This truck not once ran out of power. It seriously downshifted only like 4 times on the whole trip trying to pull a grade. And that's what the cruise said at 80. So you got me on this one, Dodge. I enjoyed my time in this truck. Am I that eager to go out and buy one for the price tag? No, because I'm a cheap ass like that. But definitely would recommend this truck if you're going to be in this segment. One interesting thought: the fuel mileage was so good empty, and the turning radius and ride quality, to me, I know they're in a little bit different price ranges. This truck would replace a half-ton for me in the short bed configuration. Like, it would be hard for me to go out and get a half-ton if I was going to go spend new money when I could get better fuel mileage and have 3 times the power, be able to tow stuff like that at 80 miles an hour down the road. The mirrors, good visibility. They kind of look dumb. I don't really like this bighorn package all that too much. I like these trucks when they have the color matched front bumper and the color matched grille. That looks really slick. Or like even the very base, it's all black up here. That looks better than this to me, in my opinion. Driver comfort was pretty decent. Sound system was pretty decent for a base. Yeah, no, I like this truck. I would buy one. Now, as far as longevity goes, I can't say much. I do know they have the lifter problems with these sometimes. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason why and how avoidable that is. 68 RFE is a 68 RFE. They do 68 RFE things sometimes. And I don't know much about the regular old Dodge electrical issues in these later 5th gens. Just haven't been out long enough to see that. But man, I was impressed with this truck, not gonna lie. I like it. Besides, I'm not crazy about the looks, but in the argument, I'm not that crazy about the new Ford right now either. I think the Chevy is the best looking new truck. But like the 20 to 22 era, Ford had that baby pinned. But yeah, there's the old barn kitty. I really like this 5th gen. It was a good truck. I'm good and impressed with the way that Cummins is configured, the way it tows. I mean, it didn't even think about getting hot. I did not hit 210 degrees on the engine temperature once today. It was not fighting the fan being cycled all the time. It did well. The transmission stayed cool. You did good on this one, Dodge. So if you like these kinds of videos, let me know. I'll try to keep making them when I come across these new trucks. So thanks for watching.